Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as per your locations. And welcome to one more session on Red Hat or CentOS Linux series. Now, in this chapter, we are going to cover up how you can install Red Hat or CentOS or Rocky Linux on your laptop, desktop, or any given platform. The installation method is going to be same. My name is Musab, and I'll be your trainer towards this course. So let's begin with, in this webinar, we are going to talk about the prerequisite of installing RHEL 7 and 8. What is the hardware compatibility list, the partition requirement, and how we are going to install Red Hat or CentOS. Now, before we can go for installing any operating system, we need to check the hardware requirement. That is really, really important. Even if you are installing a small piece of software, you have to check the requirement of the hardware. So in this case also, we are going to check out what are the requirements. Now, there are two types of requirement. One is minimum requirement and the other one is recommended requirement. Before I can comes to minimum and recommended, let me talk about that Red Hat or CentOS 7 or 8. It comes only in 64-bit architecture. Guys, we have CPUs with two types of architecture, 32-bit and 64-bit. To support 32-bit OS, we'll go with 32-bit software. And to work with 64-bit architecture, we'll go with 64-bit software. So every time, including Windows also, we have 32 and 64 both series. But since 64-bit is more common now, 32-bit has become obsolete and outdated, right? So Red Hat or CentOS have decided only to keep 64-bit version available. No 32-bit version will be there. We'll go to their websites and we'll check whether 32-bit is available or not. Now let's come back to the topic. What is the minimum and recommended requirement to go with installation? See, to install Red Hat or CentOS Linux, or in fact Rocky Linux, you require minimum Intel or AMD dual core processor. See, minimum is something which you have to add here. You should not go less than minimum requirement, right? Although even if you go less than minimum, sometimes installation will happen, but you may not get required performance. So if you want to have a good performance, then you should go for a minimum requirement. But if you are looking for optimum and best results, then you have to follow recommended requirements. Okay, then we need quad core processor in case you are using recommended requirement. So for recommended requirement, we need quad core processor. See, dual core processor means physically it looks like one, but virtually it can work like two processor. Same way when it comes to quad core processor, physically it looks like one, but logically it can perform like four processor. The speed would be very high. And when it comes to RAM, you need minimum 4 GB RAM. In fact, in our setup, if we go with 2 GB also, that's fine. But just for guidelines what Red Hat has issued, 4 GB should be minimum and recommended should be at least 16 GB RAM. When it comes to hard drive, you have to go with 25 GB hard disk space and recommended is to have 50 GB hard disk space for perfect graphical installation. Now, keeping these things in your mind, you can proceed. And we also require a network card for communication. Now, moving forward, we also need to create three partitions during installation. Like if you have installed Windows, Windows can be installed with a single partition, C drive, isn't it? Same way, when we go for Linux, especially Red Hat, CentOS, or many of the Linuxes, we require to create three partitions. In the previous video, we have discussed all the important directories or file systems that is there in Linux operating system. So here we need three important partitions to be created during installation. One is the slash, which is called as root file system or root partition. As you know, that root is the most important partition in the operating system that contains the entire operating system. So we have to give maximum available space. Minimum 15 to 20 GB could be a great idea. But if you have a big space, then at least 60 to 70% of space we will dedicate to root. Then the next partition what we have to create is boot. See, boot we should go for 1 GB. You can go beyond 1 GB, but don't go less than 1 GB as boot require at least 1 GB of capacity. Then we have a partition called swap. See, to support RAM, we require a partition to be created that would be called as swap. Sometimes your RAM may be filled up and new processes may not be start. So in that case, inactive processes from RAM will be shifted to swap to free up your swap RAM. So swap is required to support your RAM by moving inactive processes from RAM. And it is really important. So what should be the size of swap? The size of swap should be twice of RAM. To know more about swap, you can also refer to the swap video of our series in which we have explained you in a great detail how and what swap will do. So anyway, during installation, we are required to create these three partitions. Now let me show you how we are going to go for this installation, right? First of all, you need to download Oracle Virtualbox. So in this video, I'm going to use Oracle Virtualbox, which is free of cost to download as it is an open source. If you want, you can also use VMware Workstation. But as you know, VMware Workstation is a licensed product, so you need to purchase the license in order to use it. So Oracle Virtualbox is free, so I'm going to use it. Go to download Oracle Virtualbox and download. So if you are using it on a Windows laptop, go with Windows. If you're going with Mac OS, then you can go for OS X. If you want to install it on a Ubuntu or other Linuxes, if you're already having that, then you can use that also. So in my case, I'll be going for Windows host. So you can just click over here and the software will get download. Once the software is download, it's pretty simple. You know how we install anything on Windows. You just need to say click, and the things would get installed. So simply you have to download it and you have to say next, and this thing would be completed. So I don't really want it to install it, as in my case, it is already installed, right? Let me minimize this window. Now, if I show you how Oracle VirtualBox will look like after installation, you see this is the way it will look like. Now, obviously, you won't find Ansible 8 a.m., 7 p.m. Those are the virtual machines I have already created for my other video series and other classes. So you may find just a window like that, right? So in that, you have to create a virtual machine and you have to deploy your operating system. Now, one more thing you have to configure in your laptop is virtualization support. See, in order to use this virtualization software, we need to enable VT, virtualization technology. Just go to Task Manager, go under Performance, and here you need to find out virtualization is enabled or not. Mostly, when you purchase a laptop, you will find that this virtualization support will be disabled. So if you want to enable it, how to enable it? You need to go into BIOS settings. See, before that, you can just go to System Info, and you can find out what is the laptop you're using. So in my case, it is HP ZBook Studio G3, or maybe you are using a Dell laptop, or you are using an Asus laptop, or you are using Acer laptop, whatever it might be. Just find out the model and Google it out. Suppose I have Lenovo Ideapad. So I'll just type how to enable virtualization in Lenovo Ideapad. So you see, it will take you to Lenovo's website, in which you will find detailed steps. Like it says, while the system boots, you have to press F1 key. It will take you into BIOS settings, go into CPU settings or advanced settings, and you will find Intel virtualization technology, which is disabled. You have to enable it. Or in the second screen, it would be like this. Third screen, it would be like this, right? So you can just find out how to enable virtualization. So please make sure that virtualization is enabled. Now, the most important part, how to download the ISO image or the operating system. If you want to download the operating system like Red Hat, then you can go for developers.redhat.com. Now, in this, you have to register yourself, right? And if you register, then you will be able to log in. So in my case, I'm already registered. I'll simply go and log in. Let me type my username and password. Okay, so here you go. I see I have logged in. Now, once I have logged in over here, you can go to products. In products, you can go for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It might show you the latest version, Red Hat 9, but better we'll go with the older version, Red Hat 8.6 or 8.5, which is a stable version. 9 is yet to be utilized in the market. The latest what we are using is 8.5 or 8.6. So you can just download the DVD ISO image. You can download like this the Red Hat operating system. Now, if you don't really wanted to make any account or something, then you can go for CentOS.org. In CentOS.org, you can go for download. In download, you see we have CentOS Linux and CentOS OS Stream. Basically, after Red Hat 7, whatever versions that are coming, they are coming in the form of OS Stream. So you just need to go to CentOS Stream, and over here, you can download the 9 version, or you can download the 8 version. So I'm going with 8, as I told you. Click on 64-bit. See, there is no 32-bit architecture available. So we just need to go to x86. Now click into any of this link, and from here, you just need to download CentOS Stream 64-bit dvd1.iso. That's enough. Either that one or this one doesn't matter. Any one of them, you have to click and download it. Now, one more thing is there, Rocky Linux. So you can just go to rockylinux.org, and Rocky is too simple to download. You can just click on download 8.6 and it would get downloaded. Now, once the image is downloaded and the virtual machine is completed, let's come back and create our new virtual machine. Right now, what I'm going to do, I'll just explain you with a simple diagram so that you know what exactly we are doing. Just assume that this is my laptop. Now, on the laptop, I have an operating system installed, that is Windows 10 or 11, or it can be Mac OS, or it can be any other Linux, let's say any one of them. Now, on the top of it, I'm going to install virtualization software. Like in my case, I have installed Oracle Virtualbox, or you can go for VMware Workstation. Anything that you like, you can go for it and you can deploy it. So what we did, we enabled virtualization support in BIOS, and then we have installed Oracle Virtualbox. Now on the top of Oracle Virtualbox, we are going to create virtual machine. Now a virtual machine is a logical representation of a physical machine, like how a physical machine will have RAM, CPU, network card. Same way, here we are going to give it virtual RAM, virtual CPU, virtual hard disk, virtual network card. So it behaves as if it is an independent physical machine, but although it is just a logical segregation of resources, right? So we'll take a machine and on the top of it, we are going to give it virtual CPU, virtual RAM, virtual hard disk, virtual network card, and all that thing. Now on the top of it, I can install any operating system. Maybe I can install RHEL, I can install CentOS, I can install Rocky Linux, I can install Ubuntu, whichever you want, you can go for it and you can deploy. So on a single physical machine, you can create many virtual machines and parallelly, you can run multiple virtual machines. So that's the power of virtualization. So exactly the same thing we are going to do. On the top of Windows machine, I install Oracle VirtualBox. Now on the top of it, we are going to create a new virtual machine. So on the right hand side, you can see there is a new option. Click on that. Now over here, you can give the name. Just give me a moment, guys. I'll just continue in a minute. Before that, I just wanted to make some small changes that makes our understanding very better. So excuse me. All right, perfect. Let's continue again. Sorry for that gap. Let's click on new. It asks you to give it some name. Now it's up to you what name you wanted to call your virtual machine. It's your machine. You can name it anything. In my case, I'm going to call it CentOS uh, 55. For example, my choice name, whatever I like. The moment I have given CentOS, automatically the type of Linux, type of OS it has selected is Linux, and the version it has took Red Hat. Although there are many flavors of Linux, so you can choose any of them, whatever you are installing. If you're going with CentOS, or you're going with Red Hat, or you're going with Rocky Linux, better to select Red Hat 64-bit option only. So it will customize the requirement according to Red Hat. Let's go for next. The next thing it is going to ask you is to give the RAM. How much RAM would you like to associate to it? So I'm going to say, give it a RAM at least 2 GB. See, minimum RAM requirement says that we should have at least 4 GB, but it is better you give 2 GB because in this case, we are not going to install any heavy applications. We are not going to install uh, databases or something. So with 2 GB, I can suffice it. So either you can increase it from here or just click a little bit ahead of the arrow and you'll get the things increase. So let me decrease it to 2048 MB. That is 2 GB RAM. Click on next. It would ask you, would you like to create a virtual hard disk now? Of course, if I don't give a virtual hard disk, where it is going to install the OS? So I'll say yes, create a virtual hard disk now. What type? It doesn't matter. Any choice you can go for it. I'm keeping it VDI. Let's click on next. Would you like to dynamically allocated or fixed? Again, we don't have to worry. Let's keep it dynamically allocated. Now it's asking you what should be the size of this hard drive. So you can give anything above 25 GB for a perfect installation. So let us say that I wanted to give it around 30 GB. I have good space in my laptop, so assigning 30 GB is fine for me. If you want, you can go beyond 30 GB also. At least 20 GB you give and maximum whatever you want. Now I'll click on create. See, the moment I click on create, your virtual machine is created. Just imagine if there is no virtualization and you want to purchase a physical machine, how much time will be wasted? You need to go to a shop, You need to tell the requirement. According to that, either an assembled system will be given, or if you're assembling, then lots of components need to fix, and then the machine will be ready. But in here, thanks to virtualization, within just couple of seconds, your virtual machine is ready. Now, if it is a physical machine, you can go to BIOS settings at the time of booting and you can make necessary changes. But as this is virtual machine, it does not have BIOS settings, it has VM settings. So let me go to settings. Now this, you can make the changes in the configuration as per your requirement. So you can just come to system, we'll go to processor. See, when it comes to requirement, the processor requirement is at least dual core or quad core, 2 core or 4 core. So in this case, I'm only giving 1 core processor. Maybe performance may not be that good. So I'll increase it to 2 core. You need to come into the settings, go to system and go to processor and make it 2 cores. Then we will come to motherboard. In motherboard, you need to go and make the changes in the boot order. Even though if you don't change the order, that's fine. First, it will try to boot with floppy. If floppy is not connected, it will try to boot with CD or DVD. If it is also not there, it will be going with hard drive. Now, maybe I don't like floppy. Let me unselect it. Seriously, are we using floppy anymore? So I'll remove it from the list and I'll put it down the order. No cost of requirement with floppy. Now I'm telling boot with DVD. If DVD is not connected, go with hard drive. Now, do not worry about if your laptop is not having any DVD. Many people get confused that on my laptop, there is no DVD drive. Now, how come it is going to use the DVD? Remember, this is a virtual machine. Now we can feed virtual machine anything virtual. Although physically I don't have a DVD drive, but I will illusionate my virtual machine that you have a DVD. So it doesn't matter physically if you don't have a DVD. We are just going to illusionate. We are just going to make VM believe that there is a DVD. Now, during installation, there is a chance that your mouse cursor may not work properly. So just change that PS2 to USB tablet or USB multi-touch, anything you like. So we came into processor, increase the processor, we set the boot order, and we have changed the mouse type to USB tablet. Now, as you told to boot with DVD, now don't you want to feed the ISO image what you have downloaded to this virtual machine? Yes. So next thing you're going to do is come to storage. Now in storage, it is showing you the 30 GB hard disk what you have given, whereas the DVD, it says there is a virtual DVD connected, but it is empty. So this DVD, you need to insert the ISO image. Just assume for a moment, if you have a physical DVD drive, you will click on the DVD button, the tray will come out, you'll put the DVD and close the tray, right? Same thing, here this DVD is empty. I'll go and click on that DVD button. It's like you're pressing the DVD button and now the tray will come out. So just imagine, it's not literally going to happen. I'm just telling that this virtual DVD is empty. Now I need to connect that image of Red Hat or Rocky or CentOS, what we have downloaded from internet, so that it can boot with that. So I'll be going with that DVD button. I'll say choose a disk file. Now, when you say choose a disk file, it will browse where you might have downloaded it. So I'll go into the folder where I have downloaded it. And here I have CentOS or Rocky, whichever you want. I'll be going with CentOS. Now it's like the tray is closed. So here, this is how virtually I'm going to connect to my DVD. All right, fine. Now, let's say, okay, we also need to set up network, but I'll come back to network later. Let me say, okay. Now all your virtual machine is set to boot with CentOS DVD. So let's power on the virtual machine. To power on the virtual machine, you can right click and say start, normal start. Or the most simplest way I like, double click on the virtual machine and the VM gets powered on. As simple as that. Let's give it a while so that it can power on, and then we'll follow the installation steps. Here we go. Let me make it bigger for viewable. So I'll click on view and I'll go for scaled mode. Now let me just maximize it. All right. So over here, you can see it is giving you some option and some countdown is going on at the bottom. Now, if I want to control the virtual machine, I need to click anywhere inside the virtual machine and my mouse cursor will go inside virtual machine. Now, if I use up arrow, down arrow, first of all, observe the countdown is stopped. Now you can go up or down, the mouse cursor is moving. See, your mouse is now stuck inside the virtual machine. You cannot use it outside of virtual machine. Maybe I want to minimize it and I want to check some other details in my PPT. So you see your mouse cursor is stuck. It is not coming out of virtual machine. How to release the mouse cursor from that virtual machine? Look at your keyboard. If you have a keyboard in front of you, if you're watching this video on your laptop or desktop, you can see at the keyboard you have right control key. On the right hand side, there is a control key button. In Oracle VirtualBox, it is called as host key. So click on that control key on the right hand side and your mouse cursor will be released and you can use it outside of virtual machine. So if you want to capture the virtual machine, click inside virtual machine and you are inside virtual machine. Now mouse cursor keyboard will work inside VM. If you want to release the mouse cursor, click on right hand side control key and your mouse cursor will come out so that you can use outside of VM. So now you won't be having confusion. There are some options: install CentOS, test the media and install CentOS. See, test the media will spend another 5 to 6 minutes in testing the media, it is fine or not, and then installation will begin. So I don't want to waste my time to wait. I'll go with option number 1 and hit enter. When you hit enter, the DVD will start booting with Red Hat image or CentOS image or Rocky image or even Oracle Linux. So Oracle Linux is also same. If you want to download Oracle Linux, you have to go to Oracle website, Oracle Linux website, oraclelinux.org, and from there also you can download it. So installation of Oracle Linux, CentOS, Red Hat, or Rocky Linux is almost the same. Now we need to wait till the installation screen gets activated. It's a little time-taking procedure. Once it's completes, a beautiful graphical screen will be available where we will follow the instructions and will complete the installation. Here we go. So it is asking us which language do you want to use during installation. If you see, there is a huge list of languages that might be available over here if you want to go with any one of them. Too many languages are there throughout the world, whatever might be utilized. So I don't really wanted to use all those. I just wanted to go with a simple English. Now with English, according to your region, so I'm in India, I'll go with English India so that the currency is set to my country. And anything I want, I would go to Indian website, CentOS with respect to India, Red Hat with respect to India, like that. You can select as per your location. Let me click on continue. So we need to select the language and then we need to say continue. Now over here you see so many options are available what you can use, but we'll start with one after the other. You see in a keyboard you will find out that it would be Indian English with respect to rupee, the currency, right? So if we are going with subscription, especially on Red Hat, it would charge us in rupees. Language will be English, and time and date is selected to as per New York. I'm not in New York, neither this machine is in New York. So I am setting up this machine with respect to India, for example. So I need the date and time to be with Indian Standard Time. Let's click on time and date. And over here, you can see that lots of regions that are available. If you select a region, in that region, whatever countries will be there, you'll come across that. Or you can simply rotate your mouse in the globe and click on your country. Automatically, it is going to select. For India, the region is Asia, Kolkata. That's perfect. I don't want to make any other changes. If you want, you can change the format to AM and PM. That's fine. Let me go for done. Next thing is installation source. See, basically you can get installation source from many things, but I'm trying to install through DVD and that's fine for me. Now, what software would you like to install? If I click on software selection, you see so many options are available. Server with GUI, just a server, minimal install, workstation, custom operating system, many. Out of all, the best is server with GUI. It is going to install complete enterprise Linux edition that is suitable for server environment with GUI support. Almost 14 to 1500 software or packages are going to install when you select it. If you don't like graphics, you only and only want to work with command line, then go with server. This will not install any kind of graphic, but complete enterprise edition with command line. I want to go with GUI. If you're installing it on the laptop, desktop, user friendly, then you can go for workstation. I'm going with server with GUI for best result. Now, in addition to 1400 packages, if you need more, then you can select any additional package that you want. I don't really want it to go for any additional package. Let me click on done. So I made my selection that I want to install complete server edition in GUI mode. Then we'll go for installation destination. So in installation destination, I want three partitions to be available. So I'll go for installation destination. In destination, it shows that there is one hard drive, what we have given 30 GB, and here it is selected, do automatic partitioning. I don't really want it to go for automatic partition. I want to do custom partitions. So I'll be telling go with custom partitions. Done. because I wanted to do partitioning on my own. So I want to go with custom. If you go with automatic, entire 30 GB will be automatically created with partition. I just want you to learn the detailed way of installation with custom partitioning. So let's click on done. Now it shows that the installation method to use is LVM. We don't know what is LVM. In the coming videos, we may also see LVMs. So then you'll understand what is LVM. So not to confuse you, I'll go with simple, normal, standard, regular partition. Do not select encrypt my data because we also need to understand what is encryption later. Let me click on plus to add a partition, minus to remove existing partition. So let's click on plus. In this, you will find all the supported partitions that you can install. So I'm going with root, then I'll create boot, then I'll create swap. Do not require to create all those things, just go with 3. So I'll go for slash, and what size would you like to give for root? At least 50 to 60% available space would be better. Total capacity is 30 GB and I would like to give 20 GB. So I'll say associate 20 GB to it. Now how to say GB? Units, what we can use is K for KIB, M for MIB, and G for GIB, gigabyte or gigabyte, whatever you say. So I'll say add mount point. Mount point is nothing but the partition. So you see, our first partition will be created with 20 GB capacity, and I'm still remaining with 10 GB. Let me click on plus again. This time I'll be going with boot. Now boot, we prefer to create 1 GB. So let's say add mount point. Very simple stuff. Then one last time we'll click on plus, and this time I'll go for swap. You remember we have given RAM 2 GB and swap should be double of that size. So if RAM is 2 GB, the swap I'll preferably give is 4 GB. So you see our 3 partitions, root, boot, and swap are completed. And we are still remaining with 5 GB that we can use for creating our own custom partitions, right? But I'm okay with that. I'll leave 5 GB and I'll use it later for creating more partitions using fdisk or parted utilities. It's fantastic to work with. So let's click on done. And over here, it is going to ask you that these are the partitions what we are going to create. Do you accept the change? I'll say yes. So let's accept it. Then we have KDUM. Let's not touch it. It's enabled. Keep it enabled. If you don't want it, you can click and uncheck it, but do not do that. KDUM will capture the information why system crash. Suddenly, if the system crash, to know the reason of crash, KDUMP is required. So do not disable it. Keep it enabled. Now, the most important thing is network and hostname. See, we want to work with network. I want to work over the network. If I want to communicate to the external world, I need network. If I want to communicate to my internal machines from one VM to other VM, I need network. Network is very, very essential. So we'll click on network and host name. First of all, I'm going to assign some useful name to it, like I'm going to call it CentOS 55. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's your machine, your name. Now we have one Ethernet adapter, and every Ethernet adapter requires an IP address. Now IP address is a unique identity that is given to every machine, so that with which it can communicate to others and others can communicate to it. It's like you have a beautiful mobile you have purchased. Now, if you don't have a SIM card and a number, you cannot make calls to others and others cannot call you. So in both cases, you need a valid mobile phone number or SIM card. So here also we use IP addressing in order to have perfect communication. We will use as of now one adapter for internal communication. In the next video, I'm going to add one more Ethernet adapter to connect to internet. So as of now, I don't want want to make our installation complicated, so I have just used a single Ethernet adapter. In the next video, you will see that I'm going to assign one more Ethernet adapter and I'm going to use it for external communication. So let's click on Configure. Please do not forget to go to General and say connect automatically. If you don't select it, every time the system restart, your adapter will be down. You have to manually activate the adapter. So first thing, come to General and select connect automatically. Then go to IPv4 settings. In here, you need to change that automatic mode to manual. Come to IPv4, change it to manual, and assign an IP address. So here, as this is my test environment, I can choose any IP address of my choice. If you know IP addressing, you can also use any IP address. So in my case, I'll be using an IP as I know it's a free one, 192.168.10.55. Then I'll press Tab key. When I press a Tab key, it will take to netmask. It is taking 24, that's fine, do not change it. Now I'll save it. See, still the IP address is not displayed because your adapter is disconnected. After assigning the IP, you need to activate the adapter. So once you activate, you see the IP address is displayed. Now, every time I want to connect to this machine, this is the number I'm going to use. So remember this number, make a note of it. Now, how can I test it whether it is reachable or not? First of all, I'll click on right side control key to come out of virtual machine. Now I'll use Windows and R button and I'm going to do a ping test. I'll say 192.168.10.55. So ping is a test with which two machines will check each other they are reachable or not. So when I say ping and the IP address, it must ping and give me the result. But you see there is no result. It might say destination host not reachable. See, this is the error you will get because you have not yet set up Oracle VirtualBox networking properly. So first we will come back to our Oracle VirtualBox manager. I'll go to File. In File, I'll go to Host Network Manager. In Host Network Manager, you might view something like this. Click on Properties and here change the IP address. Observe the IP is 172 something something, but the machine IP what we have assigned is 192.168.10 series. So if you observe here, the series I used is 192.168.10 series. And whereas the IP what you see in Oracle VirtualBox is having a different series. This is the reason the communication is not happening. This is like my laptop IP and that is like my VM IP. So both IPs should be in the same range, not same, but in the same range. That is 192.168.10. Now here the last two digits will be different. So there I have used 55. Here I should not use 55, something else. So I might be using 10.2. 10.2 is my laptop IP and 10.55 is my virtual machine IP. So this is the first change what I have to do. Then say yes to confirm. Close this box. So our first changes happen. Still the communication will not establish. Next thing is go to settings. In settings, go to network. Now over here you see it has selected NAT. Just change that option to host only adapter and say OK. Now you need to give it some time till the settings are applied and communication established. So let's give it some 30-35 seconds to complete that process and give you this IP pinging. So as you can see, the IP has started to work. That means every time I want to connect this new machine with IP address, I just need to use this IP from my Windows machine and I can connect. So ping test is successful and networking is successful. So let's come back to VM and say done. Do not go to security policy, ignore it. Let's go to root password. See, in Linux, we have an administrator which is called as root. So I'll go to root password and let me assign some password. You can assign any strong password, but please do not forget. Maybe I'll use a simple password, red hat, REDHAT, more second time red hat. So it says that the password is very simple what I have given. If I want to continue, I need to click 2 times on done. So I'll say done once and done twice. Same way, it's asking me, would you like to add one more user apart from this fellow? I'll say yes, maybe I need it. So I'll go to user creation, give any name, whatever name you like. In my case, I'm calling it my user. You can call it whatever you want. Then the password. I'm going to give a very small password just for the sake of completion. 2 times I need to click on done. Done one, done two. That's it. All the customs, all the rituals are completed, and now we can begin the installation. So let me click on begin installation. Now from here, it is going to take around 20 minutes to complete this installation. So I don't want you to wait for 20 minutes watching this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video and we'll rejoin once the installation is completed.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, so here you see that the installation is successfully completed and now it is asking us to reboot the system. So let's click on reboot. For the first time, when the system boots up, it might ask us to accept the license agreement and then we are done with the installation. So this is how the system looks at the time of booting. And here you go. You have to accept the license and done. Let's finish the configuration and you're done. Now, if you want to log in and check how your OS will look like, it would give you an option here. You can log in as a normal user or you can log in as a super user, that is root. So if you want to log in as a normal user, click here and continue. If you want to log in as a root user, click on not listed, give the username and give the password. Let me hit enter. And here it is going to take us into the graphical session. So this is how we can log in and we can check the details about your Linux operating system. Now, if we don't want to use it anymore, you can just, okay, let's finish it off, these things. Let's say next, 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 and finish this thing. One more message might appear, just close it. Now, I just want to shut down it. So I'll click on that down arrow and power off the machine. Yes, I want to power it off. So that is it, guys, for Red Hat, CentOS, and other Linux's operating system installation. Hope you have enjoyed it learning. So in this video, only this much. Again, we'll meet up again tomorrow for another video, and in that we might continue with rest of the setup after the installation, and we'll start working with Linux command line. Thank you very much, guys, for joining this video. Have a nice day.